Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you guys today. In this one, we are going to be taking another look at our Adamancipator deck. Yep, I am actually still at the time of recording this. We're still in the Synchro event, and yeah, I've just about had enough of the Synchro only version build. I was just like, and it was actually not too bad to play the deck in Synchro only mode itself. It was just, the kind of other decks you were playing against, and the fact that people would just surrender, that was more unfun. But it is definitely nice to come back to the quote-unquote regular Adamancipator build after only using Synchros. Definitely gives you a great appreciation for Gallant Granite, and then of course all of your Link monsters as well. We're still rolling with the same build that we have been using for, well, since Baronne came out at the beginning of the month there. I have still, I feel like I say this at the beginning of every Adamancipator video, like, I always am looking at, well, it's true, like, with any deck I play, before I go to play it, like, for a session, I do like to take a look at it and be like, okay, let's look at some flex spots, like, how am I feeling about this tech card? In particular, I've been thinking about Tackle Crusader lately. It hasn't really come up a whole lot since I put it in, and especially in recent weeks that I've been playing this deck, this card's effect. So that's a tech spot I'm considering maybe trying something else, but haven't fully committed to it yet. Thinking about extra deck slots too, like thinking about maybe putting Herald of Arclight back in instead of Nightmare Phoenix. Although Nightmare Phoenix has still been fairly useful, and I think in one of our upcoming games we're going to see here, actually was a very useful option during that duel. So, but yeah, for now the list is still the same one that I've been running with. I don't like to switch up builds too much. Well, because for one, I'd have to constantly be updating deck profiles on the channel, and I don't like to typically do a deck profile for a deck more than like once a season, like once a month. That feels, beyond that would feel like a little bit, like egregious to me, but it's not only just that either. It's like, I am very much because I used to be the kind of player that would like constantly be changing their deck. Like, I'd go to locals and then I'll change up some cards and go to locals the next week and change up some cards and, do that for a couple of months. And I go to a regional and then it's like, oh, I haven't been playtesting one consistent build up to this point. So, nowadays I try very much to like I said, stay with a consistent build, really try to feel it out for like a good amount of games, like a really good amount of games, and yeah, just kind of take it from there after we've again made a proper assessment. You know me, I'm always talking about sample sizes and how they're always too small for an individual, but we can still do our best to try to play as many games as possible to get accurate results. So anyway, let's go ahead and go through the list card by card before we go into some games here. We've got Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, 3 Maxx, Mecha Phantom Bestow Lion, 2 Doki Doki, 1 Prank-Kids Dropsies, 3 Adamancipator Researcher, Seeker, as well as 3 Adamancipator Researcher, 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 1 Gigantes, 3 Koa'ki Guardian, 1 Tackle Crusader, 3 Prank-Kids Rocksies, 3 Adamancipator Analyzer, 3 Koa'ki Supplier, 3 Block Dragon, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Lightning Storm, 2 Called by the Grave, and finally 2 Forbidden Droplet. I knew there was another tech slot I was forgetting to talk about. The Forbidden Droplets, I have actually been considering maybe trying out crossout designators in these slots instead. But the thing is, I think I've mentioned this before. I know I've mentioned it before in a comment to somebody, but I don't remember if I've said it in a video before. But I don't know if I want to double up on Called by and Crossout Designator necessarily. I do like that Forbidden Droplet does give us some ability to board break going second, as well as the ability to just act as an interruption in general, like a disruption on our opponent's turn that we don't have to set up, a whole big combo to go into. If we get stopped, we can just set Droplet, and then that can be a means of interrupting our opponent during their next turn. So it even has that advantage if you're still going first anyway. And, the ability to have attack points definitely comes up often enough that that's relevant too. So, yeah, that's another choice I've been thinking about. I'm, a little more inclined to try something. I don't know exactly what yet. I have a couple of options in mind over Tackle Crusader, but Droplet again is like on my radar, but not really about to. I don't think I'm gonna take it out just yet. Oh, and then the extra deck, of course, we have Adamancipator Risen Raptite, Borreload Savage Dragon, Adamancipator Risen Dragite, Baronne de Fleur, Gallant Granite, Link Spider, Prank-Kids Meow-Meow-Mu, Crystron Halqifibrax, Nightmare Phoenix, Prank-Kids Do-Do-Doodle-Doo, IP Masquerena, Union Carrier, Nightmare Unicorn, Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, and then access code Talker. Yep, so that pretty much covers, I think, just about the whole list there. Like I said, extra deck, as far as flex spots, the flex spot here is Nightmare Phoenix, and again, kind of considering Herald of the Arc. Oh, but the other thing, that's right, I knew I had something else to say about Herald of the Arclight. If I was going to include Herald of the Arclight, I would definitely want another level 2 non-tuner in this deck, which would be probably either a third Doki Doki or Weeping Idol, which could, you know, replace the Tackle Crusader here. So, might try out that variant here. In any case, let's go ahead and now take a look at some gameplay. Okay, first match we're going to be taking a look at here is going to be against an Ignister deck, and the rare occasion where I actually get to play against somebody with oh, but in the replays it doesn't share the board music. That's too bad. Oh, whatever. Alright. Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and lead off with Analyzer, but my opponent does have an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, so that does, you know, suck, because then I don't get my Excavate there. However, I'm looking at my hand, I'm thinking to myself, well, I've still got the means to summon Block Dragon. I'm just going to go for it. And this is something that I don't see, like I said, I don't watch, like, that many other people play Adamancipator, not nowadays anyway, because I don't have the time, but, I see that I think that some people might be hesitant to banish just like 3 monsters from hand for Block Dragon. Well, we're going to discard Maxx first and then banish it from grave and these 2 from hand, just in case our opponent ends up Nibiruing later. But I feel like people might be hesitant to banish 3 monsters from hand in order to just summon out Block Dragon, but definitely don't be hesitant to, because 1, that'll enable your plays, and 2, you know, Block Dragon is going to replace all the 3 cards you banished anyway with live cards you can actually make plays with. So yep, like I said, even though my Analyzer gets negated here, I can just go ahead and discard the Maxx and then banish it in the other 2 cards for Block Dragon. We're then going to link those into Crystron Halqifibrax. The Halqifibrax and the summon off its effect, as well as the Block Dragon Search, are going to be more than enough for us to combo out here. We're going to chain block just in case our opponent, I mean, I guess they're already Ash, so there's not really anything they could have probably used to respond to the Block Dragon, but we'll chain block it anyway. It's good practice to be able to, or to do that rather. So yeah, we'll summon out the O-Lion and then summon the Gigantes, followed by Specialing Researcher and Seeker. Now I do have to be mindful here of my zones, because I only do have 1 zone open, so I got to be really considerate, or careful rather, about the order in which I'm going to summon things. So definitely going to run out the Koa'ki Guardian for a little bit of extra board insurance here. Then I'm going to sink the Seeker and the Gigantes I just summoned in order to get the Raptite. I'm then going to go for the Raptite Excavate. However, I do have to be careful at this point, because, you know, if I use the O-Lion in order to do the Synchro summon, well, then I'll get the token, but I won't have an open zone to actually link some of the Leak Spider, and I could have done maybe a bit better placement as far as that goes, and trying to be considerate about that. So I'm going to sink into Dragite. I have to, because I don't have the Link monster in my grave to go into Borreload just yet. So from there, I do have to go into Gallant Granite, like I said, because I didn't leave a zone open to summon a Link monster in. I have to free up that zone. So then now I can use a token to go into Link Spider, and then from there we can then, yeah, link summon the Link Spider. Searching Koa'ki Supplier off of Gallant Granite, as I have not used its summon from hand effect yet this turn, so I can still use that as an extender. We're then going to link all 3 into Appaloosa. You'll have to do this sometimes when playing Adamancipators. Like, we're going for a pretty standard opening combo, but we do have to do it in a little bit of a weird order in this scenario. So just be open to doing that. If you have to, like in cases like this. So here I see the Rocksies, and I'm thinking, this is perfect, because now I know I can actually summon out the Borreload Savage Dragon. So I'm going to start the Prank-Kids line, right? I'm going to go Rocksies into Meow-Meow-Mu, activate Rocksies effect, and then summon the Dropsies. However, where you would normally continue by going into Dodo-Doodle-Doo, I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to sync, using a 2, a 4, and a 2, total of 8, and then, yeah, go into Borreload Savage Dragon. So now we can have a full combo out here, or full, like, negates the full combo result. We can even further doing that by bringing back Block Dragon, linking it and the Meow-Meow-Mu into Union Carrier, thus establishing the extra deck lock. So with 1 Adamancipator tuner that got negated and a live Block Dragon in hand, we were still able to end on a full negate. We even have enough Earths Engraved to bring out the Block Dragon yet again for our opponent's turn. So that's always nice there. Alright, our opponent's going to summon Ecclesia. I can never These cards I'm not too familiar with. I'm not going to negate the special summon effect because the opponent could still normal and then get the search. I'll let them special, but I'll definitely negate the search so that way they can't get the big monster out. They're going to play another search spell with I meet you. That's right. They have all those puns of the AI cards there. I'm going to negate it because I still have the Omni negate. I know they can't Lightning Storm while this is out. So yeah, at this point, opponent pretty much is more or less conceding. They're summoning the Ash and ramming into it, which actually kind of in a way helps me out here because I'm going to flip the block dragon to attack and just go into battle phase. I forget at first this can't be destroyed by battle, and it's funny, I panicked when I saw that. I was like, oh no, did I screw up? Did I go into battle phase too early? But yeah, no, we're just going to destroy it with the block dragon and then attack with everything else. But small little things like that, okay, small little weird things like that happening are why. And I see, you know, people on, like, you know, the Master Duel subreddit especially complaining about people like, oh, they're comboing out even though they have lethal on board. They should just attack me. But you never know when an effect you might miss like that comes up. Like that monster not being able to be destroyed by battle by special summon from extra deck monsters. That really threw me off, and I thought for a second I might have thrown an opportunity at lethal. But, so, you know, that's why I'm a proponent for, you know, assuming your opponent has the out. I mean, obviously if they have no cards in hand or field, that's, you know, totally different. But, okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and now move on to the next game. Okay, next match we're going to look at here is against Shaddolls. It's going to be a bit of a brief one here. I don't think it's... I forgot to look exactly what variant it is. I think it's a standard variant from what I remember seeing in the list, though. No Despia stuff, yeah. I think at this point people were starting to realize that, like, Despia at this time is not the optimal engine we might think it is, so... Oh yeah, I know this game is going to be brief, but I wanted to show it because I want to show another example of opening with just a tuner and a block dragon and being able to combo off. So honestly, when I've said in the past that like block dragon to 1 in Master Duel format specifically would be, I think, not very significant, but a little more significant than people might think it is. The reason I say that, well, we also excavated a Rocksies here, so I mean we're able to pretty much full combo anyway, but there are, you know, a decent number of games, not a lot, obviously, definitely not the majority, and definitely not even some. It's definitely only a very select few, but there are enough games where opening block dragon enables you to combo off where you otherwise wouldn't be able to, that I think in a best of 1 format like Master Duel, limiting the card would, you know, be somewhat of a damper. Now, I will also admit that to a degree, this is also me taking a fair bit of copium. Because I really like this deck, and I really hope Block Dragon doesn't get banned, but, I mean, I wouldn't be, you know, shocked or offended if it did. So, yes, that's another reason I wanted to show this game, because I wanted to show playing through multiple hand traps there. Not only did our opponent have the Ash, well, we have the call by for that, I'm pretty sure. But, yeah, they have the Gamma there to destroy our Raptite. So I'm actually going to have to go into Nightmare Phoenix, which is what I mentioned earlier in the deck profile where Nightmare Phoenix is going to come in handy. I'm going to have to go into Nightmare Phoenix here in order to make my Block Dragon live. So, as we all know, an activated Block Dragon can, you know, usually result in a full combo after that, as long as you've got, like, something else on the field. Again, even in this case, was just Nightmare Phoenix. Just a generic Link 2 monster. Definitely still going to be more than enough for us to keep comboing off here and then end on a solid board of negates. So we even excavated the Doki Doki. Another reason, besides from being just a level 2 rock non-tuner, why I want to include the third Doki Doki is because Doki Doki is so good to excavate into off of an Adamancipator monster. Like, I don't like using Doki Doki as a starter because you have to commit a discard in order to even activate the effect that can be hit by pretty much every single hand trap in the game. But when you've already established your combos and you're going off and you're using your tuners to excavate, then hitting a Doki Doki, then that is like extra good, obviously, because you're, you know, summoning something from the deck that can then further, you know, extend. So, yeah, Borreload and Baronne are enough to scare our opponent off there. Yeah, I remember during that match, I was trying to figure out how I was going to go into Appaloosa. I was actually pretty sure at that point I wasn't going to be able to, but, yep, like I said, Borreload and Baronne by themselves seemed to be enough to have scared our opponent off. They would have only been starting with 4 cards anyway, so... okay, let's look at the next game. Okay, so this next match we're going to be watching is actually a bit of a longer one for Adamancipators. It's 6 turns, which again for this deck is like, you know, turn 3/4 is the late game for Adamancipators. But yeah, our opponent's actually going to be playing a Thunder Dragon deck here. They're going to lead off with a Dimension Shifter right off the bat. I'm going to respond with Maxx just to get it in my graveyard. And also because at this point, I see a Dimension Shifter right away. I'm actually assuming this is a stun deck, especially because they set to Afterward and Pass. Like, I had no clue at this point that I was playing a Thunder Dragon. You know, I see Dimension Shifter, again, right off the bat. I'm assuming a stun deck. So that's why I threw out the Maxx there. It wasn't even to get, you know, draws off of special summons. It was to get an Earth monster in the graveyard in case it became relevant for comboing with Block Dragon on my next turn. Which sounds like a really niche scenario, and in a lot of ways it really is, honestly. But you would be surprised how often something like that can come up. I mean, sure, I could have just banished it from hand, but I don't know. In any case, they're just going to set 2 and pass, which again, at this time, furthers my belief that I'm just playing against a stun deck here. So I'm going to summon my Prank-Kids Rocksies, then Special Researcher, and activate the Excavation effect. My opponent's actually going to Dynamiscus, which is a card I haven't seen since the normal Rare Festival. Discarding a, what is it, a Thunder, or no, it's another Dimension Shifter, actually, to banish my Researcher. So again, like I said before, I'm, at this point, pretty convinced I'm playing against a stun deck here. So I'll get a Doki Doki, discard the Supplier to get an Analyzer here, to go for another Excavate. Now, if I recall correctly, I think I whiff on this one. I do, which is definitely a bit unfortunate, but I'm just going to go ahead and sink into Baronne de Fleur here. Like, I'm not even going to bother really with the Prank-Kids line, because I want to keep my other Roxies in deck for future Excavates, and my opponent's only got 2 cards anyway left at this point, so opponent's going to chain Cross that Designator, and then of course when they banish the Thunder Dragon Dark, at this point I realize what they're going for. Also very clever of Thunder Dragons, I never considered this, that you can just use Cross that Designator as like a search in this deck by banishing your Thunder Dragon Dark. So my opponent's going to try to go for the search here, and the way I figure, like, they've only got 1 card in hand, and searching this 1 Thunder Dragon card could very easily make whatever they have live. So I'm actually going to use my Omni Negate of Baronne de Fleur in response to this Thunder Dragon Dark here. Try to leave my opponent with a dead hand, not letting them get searches and forcing them to rely on top decks in order to have plays. Plus, also, now that I know they're playing Thunder Dragons and they're not a stun deck, now I can retroactively think back to their first turn and realize just how weak it was, right? They threw out a Dimension Shifter and set 2. Like, that's definitely not an ideal opening for Thunder Dragons. So I know this 1 card in hand isn't going to be something that can do a live play by itself, because otherwise, well, they would have done that last turn. So, like I said, I'm willing to use my Omni Negate now, because it's going to force them into a scenario where they have to rely on this top deck for plays. And which, yeah, they don't get a play on their turn, so they're just going to set a card and pass here. I am once again going to activate Baronne de Fleur's Destruction effect, which is going to resolve against this Thunder Dragon fusion. I'm going to activate Doki Doki here and grab an Adamancipator Analyzer by discarding, I think it was the other Supplier there, right, that I discarded? Yes, the other Supplier. We managed to hit with the Tackle Crusader here. I am then going to Synchro the Analyzer and the, or sorry, not Synchro, Overlay, my apologies there, overlay them into Gallant Granite. And I actually misclicked here. I do this every now and then. I've done it on video 1 other time, and it's so embarrassing whenever I do, but like, I don't know, so whenever, sometimes, not whenever, it doesn't happen every time, but very occasionally, when I go to search for Block Dragon with Gallant Granite, my brain just skips the step where I summon the Block Dragon and send it to, like, I think the Gallant Granite search is the Block Dragon search. So, you know, I'm like, oh, Block Dragon, I'll grab Gigantes and then the tuners. So I'll search Gigantes, and then it's over, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I realize, oh, that was the Gallant Granite search. So, but, you know, as always, even if we misplay, it's best to just, you know, roll with it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to summon the Gigantes and go into Union Carrier here. Then I'm going to, well, sorry, then I'm going to equip Block Dragon. Then I'm going to battle. So I did think about it for quite a while at this point when I searched the Gigantes, looking at my extra deck, like, is there any way at all I can get lethal? And I think the most amount of damage I could do is 7,700. So I decided to opt to do 7,300 here instead and go for a slightly better play of going to the Union Carrier, equipping the Block Dragon. Now, since my Baronne de Fleur's Omni Negate is already gone, I'm just going to go ahead and link into the IP Masquerena here. I'll get a Block Dragon search, so I can set myself up nicely for next turn. Now, I can also, as a quick effect, go into Nightmare Unicorn during my opponent's turn, or Access Code even, maybe if my opponent doesn't do anything too threatening. But I have a quick effect to disruption here, which again, we'd already used the Baron's Omni Negate, so, you know, we couldn't use that as a disruption anymore, so that's why I was fine just making her away. The opponent now is going to get some pretty good plays at this point, but it's a little bit too late for them. They're going to use Battery Man Solar's effect, and I'm totally fine with that. And then they're going to go into the Colossus there. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and go into my Nightmare Unicorn. They've already used the normal summon, so... And I know one of their cards is just the Thunder Dragon Dark, and one of them has been dead for, like, the whole game up to this point. So I'll just Nightmare Unicorn, toss that Supplier, sure, put back their extra deck monster, and then we'll just draw and then just go for lethal. Again, normally ideally, you should, like, you know, kind of start to combo out a little bit, you know? Again, because you don't know what that unknown card is, and it could have come up, but no, whatever. We'll just stack for lethal. So, okay, let's take a look at the next game. Okay, so this next game we're going to be taking a look at here is actually against a pure Synchro, like, Synchron deck. Yeah, here in regular ranked ladders. So, Azim, you know what? I'm glad that you at least had fun with the Synchro event. Like, genuinely, I am. I'm glad that there were people out there who, did enjoy it, which of course there were always going to be. It's not like, oh, it's not like nobody enjoyed the Synchro Festival, but yep. So anyway, I'm going to respond to the special summon of Caligo Claw Crow. Geez, say that 5 times fast. With Maxx, because obviously they're going to sync. They're going to go into Junk Speeder. We're going to want to Maxx at this point because obviously Junk Speeder's effect is really, really scary. Opponent is going to sack the Junk Speeder for Stardust Synchron. At this point, they're just committing to their plays, which is a-okay with me, because obviously I have the live Maxx, and I even already had the Nibiru in my hand, so, you know, if things get too scary, I can always just, like, you know, cut it off. Opponent's going to do Arrive in Light here, which I love this card art, because it's like, you know, from the 5Ds anime when they do the summoning sequence for the Majestic monsters. Always very cool sequences there. Yeah, opponent's going to go Stardust Charge Warrior and then get the Doppel Warrior tokens here, as well as the draws from Arrive in Light and Stardust Charge Warrior. And I guess they might have been banking on these draws for another play here, because they do actually go to end their main phase at this point. Like, I didn't just Nibiru out of nowhere here. The game prompted and asked me, like, hey, they're ending their main phase. So I was like, well, if they're ending their main phase, I guess I'll just Nibiru now. Yep, we'll do so and drop the token on their board. And then, yeah, I guess they'll just concede because they realize, like, did they even see what deck we were playing, honestly? Did we show? I forget. But yeah, I mean, I guess they figure at this point, you know, I have so many cards in hand, I've already got the advantage of Nibiru, that's just, you know, gonna be it there. So yeah, sorry to crush your dreams on ranked ladder there, but again, I am genuinely glad that, like, somebody seems to have at least gotten something out of the out of the Synchro event there. Okay, we've got one more game to look at. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, last game we're going to look at here is going to be against Dragon Link, which is yet another deck I've been keeping my eyes on for a potential future build. It seems like an interesting deck, although from what I've seen / heard, it does seem like a very difficult deck to play as well. So opponent's going to go with Quick Launch, which is an insane spell card, by the way. One of the reasons I kind of want to go into Dragon Link is because just, like, their cards are so nutty. Like, they're so good. But, yeah, they're just going to go ahead and not summon anymore after that. Well, I guess they'll get the Rocket Tracer here, but, yep, so we're going to go ahead and lead off with the Koa'ki Guardian into Researcher to play around hand traps. We'll then get the Researcher Excavate and begin our plays from here. Looks like we do have at least one hit with Supplier, and yep, that's going to, well, we have the option of Guardian as well, but I'll go for Supplier just to be able to search a Guardian here for the added hand advantage. Opponent's going to play Crackdown here, and I did think for a bit if I wanted to, like, maybe chain with, like, Droplet or something and get rid of the Researcher so it wouldn't get taken, but I ultimately decided it wasn't that big of a deal that it got stolen. So we're going to go into Gallant Granite, use that to search Block Dragon, and then summon the Block Dragon. We can then link those to the Gallant Granite and the Block Dragon to go into Union Carrier. So once again, like I mentioned earlier in the video during a previous game, you know, sometimes you have to make your plays that you, or your monsters that you have to make in, like, a weird or different order in certain, you know, scenarios, but that's alright, it's not a big deal. So yeah, here I'll do the play where I discard Maxx because I was going to banish it from hand anyway to summon this Block Dragon out. My opponent has Mirror Force. Holy cow, my opponent actually had a Mirror Force here. This is like the second time since I started playing Master Duel that I've seen a Mirror Force, but fortunately the Block Dragon is unable, and the Gigantes by extension are not able to be destroyed by it, so I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. I'll set the Droplet because I figure I can just send this Walk Dragon to the grave and get searches if I need to, as well as negating my opponent's monster effects. I probably should have negated that Gateway Dragon, actually, but I figured I wanted to negate something like the Striker Dragon that was going to come out instead, which I actually ended up negating with Ash rather than the Droplet there, so... Opponent's going to activate the other effect of Striker Dragon, which is fine. They'll chain the effect of Rocket Tracer. I am then going to use Droplet at this point, like I mentioned. Oh no, I get rid of the Destruction Buster Sword, not the Block Dragon. But either way, we're going to want to go ahead and negate the Rocket Tracer so they don't get another summon from the deck. If they want to add this, card back to their hand, again, that's totally fine with me. Opponent is then going to Link Summon into another Striker Dragon, which scared me because I thought for a second that this wasn't once per turn. But it is, so they don't get to go for another search for Brute Sector launch, which again, thank God, because they would have, I think, been able to just start comboing off altogether there, if they did. So, yeah, we're going to special the Researcher, which is enough to scare our opponent into conceding. So, alright, that is going to do it for the gameplay. Let's move to the outro. Alright guys, hope as always you enjoyed that gameplay there. Yeah, like I mentioned during the deck profile portion of the video, I've definitely been thinking about making some of the changes that I mentioned earlier to the build, but I still am not only fully committed to not taking out the cards that I have been thinking about taking out, but I'm still not sure, especially with the slot of Tackle Crusader, exactly what card I want to put in. So, oh geez, sorry about the chair there. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions in the comments below, I would love to hear from you, as you guys are usually really, I won't say usually, you're always really good about offering solid gameplay and deck building tips. So yeah, do let me know. I love interacting with you guys in the comments down there as well, so that's another reason I like to see them down there. Thank you, by the way, for watching to the end of the video, and if you're leaving comments like that, I very much appreciate the interaction there. Not even for YouTube stuff, for personal gameplay and growth as a player stuff. I've mentioned it many times before. I feel like I say it almost every video, but I feel like a lot of my growth as a player in Master Duel, and I would even argue the majority of it, is because of doing the videos and interacting with you guys in the comments as a result, and you guys offering a good constructive feedback, which I love to hear. So definitely keep at it. I love it. I love to see it. But you don't have to necessarily if you don't want to. As long as you're viewing to the end, that's more than enough for me. But yeah, without further ado, this is XLex signing out, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.